Hi there. Okay, so we're on to section 2 of Key Area 5. So this is Animal Transport Systems or Transport Systems - Animals. And this section is all about blood vessels. So what we're learning about is the 3 types of blood vessels, their structures and functions.
So by the end of this video, you should be able to name the 3 types of blood vessels. You should be able to state the direction of blood flow in each of the different vessel types. You should be able to tell us which of the vessels have walls that are 1 cell thick, because that's quite a specific one. You need to be able to tell us which vessels are the ones that contain valves and which have muscular walls. So basically, you need to be able to describe the structure and the functions of the 3 types of blood vessels.
Okay, so blood vessels are the tubes that carry blood throughout your whole body, okay? So this includes arteries and veins, but there's also a third type that you might not have heard before, which are called capillaries. Now, hopefully you have in your life heard of arteries and veins before, but they are just the tubes that's their only job. They just carry blood throughout the body.
Okay, so first of all, we're going to look at arteries. You can see a picture of it here. You are quite likely to come across pictures of this. This is the kind of thing that can crop up in an exam, a picture of an artery, vein, capillary, and you have to know just by the picture which one's which. So things to know about arteries, first of all, is that they have a thick muscular wall. If you look at this one, it has quite a thick wall. It's not a very thin outline, it's quite thick. They have quite a narrow opening, so because their muscular wall is so thick, the bit in the middle is going to be narrower than anything else. This will make more sense when you see veins and you see the comparison of them. And then arteries are kept deep under muscles, and tissues protect them and keep them warm. So basically, they are not right at the surface of your body. They are deep within your body. They are very big, important blood vessels.
Okay, now the function of arteries, so you need to know this as well. Arteries carry blood away from the heart. Try and get those 2 A's together. So arteries away from the heart. Okay, now because it's coming from the heart, and the heart is a muscular pump that has just squeezed blood, the blood in arteries is very high pressure. Okay, this is why a medical person or a person trained in first aid will panic if they suspect you have an arterial bleed, because that is basically a cut to one of your arteries. Because the blood is so high pressure, it leaks out of your body really, really quickly if it's an arterial bleed. So those are quite urgent emergency medical situations. So we've got to remember these 2 facts. They carry blood away from the heart, and that this is high pressure blood. So those are the functions, whereas the thick muscular wall and narrow opening, those are the structural features of arteries.
Okay, so our next one is veins. Again, you can see a picture here, and now you can compare that to the artery structure that I've just discussed about. So you can see in these have a much thinner wall. So that kind of ring around the outside, it is much thinner than the one in the arteries. And again, I would say go back, look at them, compare them to each other's. As a result of having a thinner wall, that means the middle bit is much, much wider. So they have a much larger opening in the middle, so a much larger space for blood to travel through. The other thing that veins also have that arteries don't have is they have valves. So again, it's a bit alliterative. Arteries carry blood away, veins have valves. It's nice and alliterative, the heart, for you. So veins have valves, and this stops blood flowing backwards. So basically, when your blood is coming all the way back towards your heart from your feet, and the blood is travelling up your leg, basically to stop it just all sinking down to your feet thanks to gravity, there are valves. So once it goes up a bit, the valves shut to stop it going back down, and it keeps doing that basically to prevent all the blood just sinking to your feet all the time.
Now the function of veins, again, so we've looked at structural features. Veins carry blood to the heart. There is no sort of alliterative term here. You just have to remember veins are going back to the heart. Now because they're going back to the heart, they are low pressure, okay? So they're carrying low pressure blood inside of those veins, which is why the valves are so necessary. That video link there, you can click it on the sway. I'm pretty sure it is Operation Ouch, and it's Dr. Zand and the other one, that one, comparing basically arteries and veins.
And the final structure that we're going to talk about is capillaries. Now, capillaries are much, much smaller than the other 2. Arteries and veins are considerably larger than these ones. So they are very, very small, and they are also very, very narrow. They also have one really special feature, which we'll talk about more, especially when we go on to do the lungs, is that they have a wall that is 1 cell thick. So basically, the width of it is 1 cell. And that's really important, because that means that when we go on to talk about gases diffusing in your lungs, this is why having 1 cell thick is going to be really useful, because it's a lot less far for them to go through. It's important to know that because they're only 1 cell thick, they can be really, really easily damaged, because if something's 1 cell thick and that 1 cell is damaged, that's bad. And another thing to know about them is also the idea that they form really large networks, which again we touch on more when we do the lungs. But basically, capillaries, when they form with loads of them in a big network over an organ. And again, that's all to do with gas diffusion.
Okay, so the function of capillaries is touched on there. They are the site of exchange of materials between cells and the blood. Your cells are not, like your muscle cells, for example, are not floating around inside your bloodstream, but they've got blood vessels cruising really, really close to them, including a load of capillaries. So the capillaries are where your, for example, muscle cells will get oxygen and be able to hand over carbon dioxide to get rid of it. So at the capillary, RBCs, red blood cells, will release oxygen to the cells and plasma will collect carbon dioxide and waste from the cells. Now, the thin walls of the capillaries make this easier. And can we stress on a language point? You can either say for capillaries that they have very thin walls, or you can say the walls are 1 cell thick. But never say that capillaries are 1 cell thick, because they're not, okay? They've got a wall that's 1 cell thick on one side and a wall that's 1 cell thick on the other side. So overall, they are not 1 cell thick capillaries. Instead, you have to say the walls. So either say the walls are very thin, or you say the walls are 1 cell thick.
And to summarise this, just a bit of the vessel structure and the function. So arteries, they have thick walls with a small opening and they carry high pressure blood away from the heart.
Veins have thinner walls than arteries. They've got a wide opening and they've got valves to prevent the backflow of blood, and their function is they carry low pressure blood back to the heart.
In capillaries, these are the really small ones. They have walls that are only 1 cell thick, so very thin walls, and they form networks around organs, and they are the site of exchange of materials.
Okay, so that's it for blood vessels. The next video is going to be on the heart. Now, the heart is large. There's a lot of things to know about the heart, and it also requires the knowledge of arteries carry blood away from the heart, veins carry blood to the heart. So if you're not sure of that, maybe try some BBC Bite-Size revision, try having a look through your notes again before you move into the actual heart section, because again, I think there's about at least 12 things to know about the heart due to 4 chambers, 4 blood vessels, and 4 directions of blood flow. Okay, so make sure you go through that before entering into the next video, and we will see you in the next video for heart.